Great. All right. We are off and ready to run. Good morning. Welcome to, is this week 6's recaps? We're going into week 7. Well, we're already there, everyone. Good job. Who did Juan, were you leading us in demos this morning?
Yeah, I'm gonna do demos. Well, you are gonna do demos. I'm just gonna host that part of the section. But before that, I would like to ask something very quick. I would like to know how everyone is doing, how everybody is doing. Maybe I can start, so we can have a very nice discussion. So things are going great here. As you notice, it's spring, almost summer. It's too hot for me, but I appreciate this summer, this weather. And yeah, I'm doing some gardening over there. This backyard is a mess, so this is something that I'm learning because this is the first time that I live in a house, especially in Canada. So yeah, lots of learning. And yeah, work is going well. I started one thing. I started mentoring a new intern in the company, so it's great. I have had a ton of learnings here in TCL that I'm trying to apply there with the new intern. So that's all about me. How the rest? Who wants to go next?
I can go. Mostly because I've had a really fun weekend so far. My husband is he does improv comedy, and he has a team that he's been with for a few years now, and they've come over a few times during the pandemic to hang out in the backyard, and we'll watch movies outside. We have a projector, and we have a projector that's so old that it only works with VHS, which makes everything a little bit more entertaining because we've watched things like Armageddon, and we actually watched the first half of Titanic last night, which was a kick. I mean, they're all, huh?
Is it the bad half?
Actually, there was a discussion about which half to watch because the first half is more happy and the second half is very sad. But anyway, it's a bunch of comedians, so they're just making jokes the whole time, and it's a kick, and it's super fun. Anyway, and all of them are fully vaccinated now, so it's just a huge party in our backyard, and it was super fun. Anyway, so did that, and I'm also going hiking today. So I'm just loving this weekend. I'm super excited about the fact that it's getting sunny and nice outside again, so I can go and do some outdoor activities, which I haven't been able to do in a while. So that's all going really well. Wonder if I should pass it to somebody. I could do a baton pass.
I haven't really figured out the Zoom, let me throw the thing at you and go.
Oh, like a koosh ball.
Right.
So it comes to my head. Adam, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I agree. This weekend, I feel it's like the start of summer. It's been pretty hot in New York. I haven't worn trousers all weekend, just shorts and a t-shirt, which is mad. My cousin has been visiting from Philadelphia as well, and so I'm pretty hungover today. We went out drinking last night. It was good. It feels like New York, it feels like getting back to normal. Everyone's vaccinated. It's been very good. So it's been a busy weekend, busy week as well, which has been nice. So yeah, I'm in a good mood. I guess I will pass it on to Vanessa.
Hey everyone. I am doing okay. I had a little bit of a rough week, partially because last weekend I'd gone to an amusement park and I think messed up my back a little bit on this old roller coaster. It's better now. And then I think my niece picked up maybe a virus. She had a little fever, and I think I'm starting to get it. The throat's getting scratchy. So I'm drinking lots of honey tea. But other than that, yeah, weather's been awesome. I've been also getting out in the garden, mowing the lawn. Everything looks so nice. And then my work has been going really well. And my bosses have been giving me more and more projects. I had to learn Hugo and Gatsby and a little bit of C# the last couple of weeks. So it's been really fun learning all these new technologies. Okay, and I'll pass it to Tamara.
Hi, everyone. So I would say that this weekend has been a relief. I had a very relaxed Friday. that was a lot different from the fire hose effect of starting a new job and trying to get really like calibrated with the new schedule and everything. So this weekend was still pretty like kind of like I checked out of work, but I checked into personal. So that's still a job for me, being a mom, being a sister, cousin, auntie, you know. So, but I did end up going to a birthday party where I lended a helping hand. So you kind of feel a little honor and like, oh, I put up the balloons. So I was just part of that project, and it was pretty relieving, and that I could just get out and go relax. So yeah, we definitely enjoyed the weather as well. We had a water fight. It was just, you know, amazing. So yeah, that was my weekend and how I feel at the moment. And I will pass it to, last but not least, Taryn.
Well, happy for everyone, by the way, with all your new stuff, new tech, new jobs, new apprenticeships. It's really cool to be in this group and watch everyone kind of evolve in their careers as well. So with that being said, yeah, I had a pretty packed week, pretty overwhelmed. I'm involved in another cool program called Year One, but there's a lot of things I have to do for that, as well as so managing some take homes I had, so the good news is I passed my take home for Vice. So I move on to another round next week with them. And then I have another interview tomorrow morning with another startup. So that's cool. But yeah, so last night, I don't know, thought we'd go out to eat. My partner came back into town and about 9:30, not feeling so good. So they're still asleep at the moment. So I'm out in my car, like just kind of leaned back. It feels like Pfizer round 2, strangely, the shot. So I'm like, is it a flu bug that I got maybe and not food poisoning, or I'm not sure. But other than that, doing pretty well, feeling ready to, yeah, do this next thing. I'm excited about styling the app next. I'll say that. So.
So
Actually,
I
did
think
Lyle, I think, had not.
Oh, who cares what I did? No, I mean, like, as far as work and stuff goes, it's really interesting in that I started this job in January, and it's really taken me this long to kind of feel like I kind of know where stuff goes. And like to really actually go in and feel like I can be, you know, the productive jerk that I like to be, where, you know, like I can do things on the database and make them show up in the UI and all that kind of stuff, and knowing how the pieces kind of go together, and like now I actually feel like I can go in and someone like hands me a feature and I can go in and build it, develop it, which, you know, it just goes to show that I was getting frustrated on myself for it really taking a minute to get there. And, you know, you kind of say, I think there's a rule of like 3 to 6 months whenever you start a new job before you really kind of like absorb it and you can kind of get in. And I think I reached that point, which feels really good. But sometimes, like I said, it just takes a minute. And then, yeah, last night there's like a karaoke thing where you get like your own like little room. So if you have like a group of friends, you can just go hang out in like your own secluded, like walled off thing. So not everyone is inflicted on your terrible singing, but there's just like a group of 5 of us, and we kind of just hung out and sung random songs for a few hours last night. It was a lot of fun. It felt pretty normal, and I'm kind of excited for normal-ish things to start happening again. So it was great.
What did you sing?
Terribly, lots of things. Yeah, just whatever. The same old bull crap that normally happens on karaoke nights, but you know, it's fun.
Cool.
I did karaoke once, and I don't know songs apparently. It was pretty much like I spent the entire time going through the book like, I don't really know that one. I don't really know that one. Like I feel like I should know it a little bit, and just not finding anything for way too long.
Well, I love when people know the choruses and then they actually get up to do the song and the verses show up and they're like, wait, I don't know how these verses go, but I have the words, but the melody escapes me. So it happens to all of us.
Cool. So, well, first one PSA. I know that you all are busy, but we are gonna, after this cohort finishes, so we have the career lab that is a new, well, almost new program where we are gonna help to, to practice LinkedIn profiles, how to write LinkedIn profiles, mock interviews, like mock technical interviews, and also like job fit interviews. So this will be maybe 1 or 2 weeks. I don't remember exactly, but the announcement should be 2 weeks, right? Yeah, thanks. So it's 2 weeks. So you are welcome to join. I'm not sure if you registered or maybe let someone know, but I think that if you wanna do it, this is open. If you want to keep practicing that part of the I forgot the word for that, but yeah, you know what I mean. So it's just to sharp your skills in interviewing. So we are trying to help on that side too. So check the random channel, or maybe I'm gonna check where is that, and I'm gonna pass the info if you are interested. That's all. So now, Dimos. So as usual, is there a volunteer to start? You?
Taryn, if you want to go first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'll just share the screen.
All right.
So I will begin first with the UI. This week we had to just basically create the functionality of deleting an item from the list. So to demo, I will add an item in a new list. Red this time.
Yeah, we really love the bread on this Firestore.
So here, added the delete button, and then here we can check it to delete. And then this little alert pops up for, confirmation that you want to delete the item. And we just click OK, and it's gone. So I will now show the code. Hopefully I'm in the right.
Yeah, I think, well,
Oh,
I think it's in list actually. Oh, good. Or grocery item? Not the CSS, the JS. You're good.
sorry. Okay, there's it. Oh, this thing is in the way.
Nope. Grocery item. So it's on my phone, so it's quite small.
Oh, I wish we were in live share.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. There we are. So online, I think it was 56. Yeah. So it's fairly simple. The Firestore comes with that built-in method, the delete. And so I'm just deleting the item by its ID in the Firestore. And I was able to check if it removes it from the Firestore, and it does successfully. And so the way that I implemented it was using the window to trigger the alert to show up. And then once you confirm it, so that's down below in the render, actually. If you go down. Yeah. So that will trigger it. And so once you hit OK, so like once that becomes true, if confirmation is true, it will trigger that handle delete, I guess we could call it there. There were other interesting ways I thought we could probably do it, like to make it fancier, like a confirmation dialog box, that it's its own component. But I wanted to get functionality going first, because it got pretty messy when I tried to implement the other way, with the styling and passing the right props and IDs and all that. But that's probably another way we could do it, rather than just defaulting to that, so that we can style it more and make it look nicer, like a more custom confirmation dialog box versus just the alerts that we can use. But yeah, pretty simple this week. Adam, I did see your note about potentially changing the colors. I think that's a great note, and we can definitely address that when it comes to styling this app and go back through and make those decisions together for sure. I also might want to move it outside of it, you know? So right now it's within that component, like it's wrapped in that div, I think. So I could get it adjacent to each item, but maybe there's a way to separate it more too for styling purposes. I think the way that we did the list CSS, that was the only way for me to get it beside and not below the items. So we'll come back to that though.
Cool. Great job on that. And I mentioned that I loved the simplicity on the functionality. So yeah, thanks for that. And I agree. I totally agree that it's better to focus on the styling and the next piece of work. So you can focus on the functionality, then you can polish that part, and you can decide as a team which approach will be better for all. But that will go after we describe the next issues. So yeah, I'm not gonna spoil that part. So yeah, cool, great work. So now Adam and Vanessa.
Hello, everybody. I can share screen. So Vanessa and I, our task this week was to create sort of different groups so we can color code the items so you can see if it's sort of imminent, you know, you need to buy it soon, we've made it red. If you don't need to buy it too soon, it's yellow. And then if it's really far in the future, there's also a green option as well. We've also ordered them by the days, as you can see. And if the days are the same, they are ordered in alphabetical order. So you can see it should change if it means it goes above oranges, just like that. And yeah. Yeah, so I'll let Vanessa talk about the code side of things. I don't know if you want to share your own screen or you can just look through here and I can scroll for you. It's up to you.
I might share my screen because I also I have Juan made some awesome suggestions just for like refactoring stuff, so I can show that version.
Yes. Yeah, one very quick point I should mention with the colors. We have an option for green, but it doesn't. You basically can't use it because the date we've put it as. So I think we need to make it a bit higher, which you can talk about that when we show it.
So I'll start in grocery items first, which is where we were controlling the background and setting our ARIA label. Yeah, we just add a class name to set the background. And then Juan had mentioned we should move this ARIA label to the actual input. We had it on paragraph, but there it is right there. So then we wrote, these separate methods up here. We're basically doing lots of conditional statements to see, how soon the item needs to be bought. And yeah, Juan had some awesome ideas for we can create some constants, and I think everyone agreed to lower down the 30 down to 21. But having this constant is so nice because then you can just be like, boop, like now it's 30, but I don't have to edit it in a bunch of places. And then also Juan had this great idea of we were using this kind of complicated calculation for the inactive state 2 times, both in this get ARIA label and get background. So we can just abstract that out into its own method. I think we had, and correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, we had tried combining both of these methods in one because we're like, these conditionals are the same thing. And so we had created some state to hold like the ARIA label, state to hold the background. And I think we threw everything in a use effect. But because we were putting these things in state, the page wouldn't update as quickly. So when you click on an item, I guess because setting state is asynchronous, so it just takes a little longer. So that's why we did have to separate it into these 2 methods so that it's like immediate. There might be another, I don't know, way to do that, but this is what worked for us. And then I guess we added these CSS backgrounds for the background colors in grocery items CSS. And then in list.js was where we handled our sorting. Well, I guess at first we thought about like, why can't we just sort things in Firestore, right? You can make queries, you can order things. But I learned this, I did not know. Apparently, like if you look at a line 11 here, if you call like a where the token equals this, the next query you do, like an order by, has to be on that token. You can't do like a separate order by name, which seems not cool for Firestore. So we ended up just using the JavaScript sort function in this sort by how soon and name. It's generally sorting by how soon, but then if those how soon categories are equal, it's sorting by name. And Adam introduced me to this local compare because we originally we were sorting names the same way down here, doing like a.name minus b.name. But it wasn't working. It was like really frustrating. Like, why isn't this working? But I guess this local compare is more sensitive to strings, and you can add in other options too. But yeah, local compare ended up working. I think that's it. I don't know if Adam, you had anything to add?
No, I think that's taken through the code very well. Yeah, it was a good challenge.
Yeah, great work on that too. And thanks for adding the changes, the suggestions. Not sure if you want to add something else or. So one thing I don't remember if I clarified this about the area label part. Why you needed this change? So I don't remember if I clarified that in the PR comment or not. But maybe I can give a little bit more context to everybody there. So basically the issue was that initially the area label was specified on the paragraph element instead of the input. So the issue with that is that screen readers will try to read whatever the user is focused on right now. And the problem is that a P cannot be focused. So that's why you need it in that context to put it in an input element. There is another approach that you can take is, for example, instead of the P, you can add a label. So in that case, you can add the area label there, and the user can focus on that. So that means that the screen reader will read either the label or the input elements. So that's why it's better to use it there. So screen readers can read the description to the user. That's why.
Awesome, thank you for that.
Cool. So great work, everybody. But yeah, that's now who's next?
I believe retros are next, which is my jam this week. So I will post the link there is in chat. It's our last retro, I think. Potentially we have one next week. I don't think so though. I think this is our last retro. Yeah, I can share my screen and I don't even know if we need to share my screen because y'all can see it in your own screen. So let's just spend the next 5 or so minutes. If you want to raise your hand here in Slack or in Zoom when you've added all of the cards that you want to add, and we'll chat about how the last couple weeks have gone.
I keep trying to do it on my phone. I'm so sorry, everyone. It's really difficult to. I don't think it's made for my mobile device yet. So
Yeah. Well, no worries. If you wanted to just like type it up in notes or something like that, and we could just call on you and you can share what you've written down.
Sure.
That works for us, I
Of
think.
course.
I wonder if we can log something at GitHub and see if we can put something for their project boards to get a feature going
Yeah.
on fixing it up.
Yeah.
Do you have like the GitHub app? I think they have an app for a phone, don't they?
Let me try it again. But yeah, I have had it before and I opted out of using it because I didn't like it
That's
worked
fair.
very well. But I'll try it. One sec.
I know sometimes the features are better on the app than on the mobile version of things in general. I don't have any idea about GitHub. I've never actually used it as an app.
I don't see anything on here useful. It is not great.
Yeah, I gave it a shot, but
But it has dark mode, and that's what's important.
Awesome. Taryn, are you done writing down your notes too?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I'm gonna unraise my hand because it distracts me. There we go. Great. Let's. I'd love to just have each of us share the things that we wrote down and talk about it more as you'd like to. Taryn, if you don't mind starting, that would be helpful for appreciations.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm very appreciative of the flexibility of everyone as well. And the willingness to make really thoughtful observations on not only our code that they're reviewing, but like Vanessa and Adam going back and being really thorough in their PR, and also just the mentors in general, your availability. And I wanted to say, give a specific appreciation to Lyle. I was pretty discouraged this week with other things unrelated to TCL, and really gave me like a little boost, a little confidence boost that I think I really needed, and it helped carry me through the rest of the week. So I'm really appreciative of that.
You had it in you the whole time. Don't worry.
Awesome. Cool. And then if we want to go in order from the top down, Juan, it looks like you have a couple there at the top. If you wanted to share all yours.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I think that this is related to what Taryn just mentioned. I said Lyle always bringing great energy to the meetings, and I think that that's not only to the meetings; it's to the chat. Also, I loved the message that you put for the office hours. It was like so on brand. And also that I think that you are a great host for these meetings. I appreciate that, the energy that you bring here and the interactions. So yeah.
I'll second that real quick.
Next one, it's for Mindy's communication for devs learning module. So it was very super instructive. And I think that I now that I see, I forgot to mention that you also gave some good feedback in the previous one that I gave. That was pair programming. You gave some good feedback about pair programming and mob programming. Is that the word? You see, I'm bad with acronyms. That's fine. Sorry. But yeah, so thanks for that. You always bring like really nice feedback, and you put things in a good way, in a good context. So I appreciate that. And the other one is for the whole team, that I have been seeing how you are growing, in the sense of that every feedback that we try to put into the PRs, I see that every week you try to make changes based on that feedback, and you try to improve based on that. So I really appreciate that, and I see that that's you are growing on that sense, not in the sense of code or technical skills. It's more on the sense of communication and how you work as a team. So this is really helpful, and I think that this is a way to show how you can grow as a developer or as a team member more than technical skills. So I want to enforce that thing. It's like more about how you work as a team and how you can make things trying to fit as a team too. So that's highly important. So yeah, I appreciate that. So thanks for that. That's all what I got in appreciations.
Awesome. Thanks, Juan. And I am next in the list here. And I just have an appreciation for the whole team. Like, I feel like y'all have been really intent on finishing up the goals of the week, even like if it carries over to the next week just a little bit, or whatever the case may be. Like, y'all push through and get it done. And I've just been impressed with that focus and drive that y'all have kind of individually and as a team. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all of you for that. It looks like Tamara is next on the list. So if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yes, definitely. I definitely wanted to give thanks to all of the mentors for being constructive when you're making suggestions, with best practice, and kind of like sending us out into the world, like pushing us out the nest with flying wings. But I definitely, and then it's like you guys also iterate that I'm not coming from a place of I'm the sensei, you're the grasshopper. It's just more like, I'll hold your hand if need be, we'll walk through it together, not just this is wrong, this is not right. So I definitely, even with Taryn saying that, even the extra support on the side is definitely a huge difference to kind of conditioning us, to communicate better, when to communicate, even, on Slack. So I just love that the intentions are pure, just coming from seeing us grow or just wanting us to advance in certain ways. So yeah, I definitely wanted to put that in appreciation, like in general. But then my second appreciation was for Taryn's tenacity for this issue. She definitely just took it on and completed it for us without me actually coding anything. So, as a team member, I definitely wanted to pull my weight in something. So I definitely took heed on like everything she didn't do, like just overseeing the PR and making the GIF or GIF for the issue. So I definitely wanted to give her an appreciation this week as well. So yeah.
I think I'm next.
Yes.
And just first off, like shout out to Vanessa. It's been well good at just doing things quick. She has to wake up early as well. Obviously, we're in different time zones, so I appreciate her willing to get on it. As soon as she wakes up, it's very good before she has work. So deserves credit for that. And also, getting moving on the changes as well, which is really good of her. And also, to all the mentors, all of you, like the comments good, everything you suggest, all those things, it's all really useful, helpful stuff, and like means I'm learning a lot, basically. So thank you.
And Lyle's up next.
Forgot where the mute button was. I just wanted to say, again, Juan, you're always, super helpful and on the spot and ready to, help anyone who, whenever they're needing it, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing great, and I appreciate that.
And last but not least, Vanessa.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what everyone was saying about mentors. It's really been meaningful having all of the like anytime you ask a question, it's like you get your answer and then it's like you get 5 more like extra bonus treats of like, oh, you should also think about this or this. And your like mind explodes in like the best way. And yeah, just you guys are always on it on Slack. Like even if it's just like sending a nice little like emoji, like that is so encouraging. And just being a former teacher, like I know how much effort it is to be someone in that kind of like mentoring role. It takes a lot. We often only see maybe like 25% of like what's really happening. So just thank you all for all your time and energy.
It's funny what emojis can do. Like I seriously, I'm all about them. Like I feel like it's a thing that I don't know that I got into until I got into tech. And then I was like, okay, everybody uses these all the time and there's a reason. It's because they're awesome. I'm all about those. We have like, gosh, 25,000 or something like that, I think, at New Relic. Like there's just so many and they're constantly being added to. It's a good time. I find myself restricted in so many other forms of communication anymore. Like I can't, especially in Zoom, I want to be able to react in a certain way and I can't. And it's because I'm so used to be able to choose from all of the different Slack emojis. Maybe they'll up their game in that at some point. Great. So let's move on over to what went well. And Taryn, if you don't mind kicking us off again, that'd be great.
All right. I think that we do a really great job of getting our features like up and going before sync meetings, which even despite like all the other life balance that we have to have. So it's really great that that's been kind of the consistent norm throughout this whole process. But also I think that everyone is just really available on the team and to step in and help each other, even catch something that I might have missed that's not their responsibility necessarily. But I think that happens a lot within our team, and I'm really appreciative to be on this team specifically. I'd say I think that I don't know how everyone else is doing, but I think we're doing really well. Not to be biased, but I think we did a really good job. More chatting. It felt like more chatting and checking in. I know that we haven't been doing the midweek thing like we wanted to, and that's for the next category what we could have done better. But I think that overall communication and hopping on something as someone calls out for it has been really good, really consistent.
All right, and I think Juan, if you want to share your thoughts.
Sure. So PRs have been done quite fast over time. What I mean with that is that I see that you are getting, or you got comfortable with the project, and it's good that you see how the project has evolved, and you feel more comfortable making changes on that. And I see that in the PRs. So that's really good. That's
I can go. So what went well this week for me was just being comfortable with the workflow of, I'll just read it word for word, completing issues and making PRs between teammates. So with me changing my schedules, it's definitely like I at least know what to expect, and my teammate does as well. So it's almost like it does, in a sense, give them the initiative if I can't get to it, to kind of balance our peer programming for them to get the issue done. But at least I know what to expect, and I'm like not lost on anything. So I definitely, I'm getting more used to the PRs and like what is actually going on when the approvals and what we're waiting on. So I'm usually like the holdup, but it's becoming more of an expectancy on my end. So I definitely think that for me to know, okay, this is next, this is the next step, it has been well for me. Like it's getting a little bit better. My second, what went well was the nudging of the midweek check-in bot. I think for me with communication nudging or, suggestions, it's like it has to be another thing that has to be an expectancy. So at least I know how to prepare to respond to the midweek bot, if that makes sense. Like you actually have to get acclimated to kind of throw that in your schedule as well to participate. So I definitely love the nudging as like an introductory, like, oh, this did pop up this week, this is when it's expected. So I will definitely get my entries out of the drafts and actually put them up in the thread with the bot. So, but it did go well because I didn't notice it. And it was like, oh, I actually have to do this. So yeah.
I think I'm next. I was picking back up of what Lyle had said. I'll let him go into just everyone's balancing, doing good work-life balance. But I was saying, I think everyone's flexibility has really helped with that. I know I hate to be the person to be like, oh, like I hate asking for like, oh, I can only work at this time, but like people don't care. It's like, yeah, Adam mentioned I get up early, but it's like, I'm thankful that like, that's good with you. Like, sometimes it's hard to ask for this. Like, these are the only like times I can work, but everyone's like, great, awesome. Yeah, I can do that. We can work this out. Whatever has come up, time, PR stuff, like it's been really smooth.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off that and say mine right there, since it's there. Time management is hard, right? You'd think we'd get to being adults and have that all kind of figured out and worked out, like we could, balance ourselves super easy. And it's always a challenge. And I think that y'all are doing a great job of doing work stuff and human stuff and like, just making it all happen. So good job.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I feel that too. Like just watching you all kind of balance everything. It's been pretty good to watch. Cool. My what went well is that demos for the last couple of weeks have been very, very smooth, like seamless. So thank you all for taking that feedback of figuring out who's doing what beforehand, because it's pretty obvious that y'all are doing that. So well done in that regard for sure. All right, and then what could be improved? And I'll take some notes here and action items if we end up having something that we want to kind of pull out from those particular retro pieces. So Taryn, if you don't mind starting.
Yeah, I feel like this is a call out to me directly. I'm calling myself out here. I think what I could benefit from, and I don't know if this would help everyone else, but just as we leave TCL, I think that one thing that could be good is steps. Steps are really positive for me in that, like, as we start these new careers and we try and get into, you know, this world, that there's a lot to remember is what I'm trying to say. And so, like, there were small elements like, oh, forgetting to assign someone to my PR request, or forgetting to do this. And so I'm thinking about a way to even my Git, you know, what's the word? The order of Git commands, like I accidentally merged a branch, you know, I'm like, what? Come on, you know? And so I think that maybe, if anything, just being more methodical as I know that I was balancing some other deadlines this week. And so I was like, I got to get this feature done and it's got to be working. But then I think some other things fell to the wayside as a result of that, that are better practices that benefit the rest of the team. So, like, you know, like, so when I say a list, I mean, like, have you assigned this? Have you done this? Have you pushed up your code? You're like, even just making it on a notebook paper for me, just so that I develop that habit, I think is something that I can improve upon for sure.
That's great feedback.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put an action item, totally optional for y'all, but might be helpful just to remember that thing of like just making some notes of steps, best practice, like just different things that you've learned about TCL or during the cohort. And also, I always, if you have the time and the energy and the desire, which is always a hard thing to get all of those together, write up a retro for yourself, like on a platform. It doesn't, you don't actually have to publish it if you don't want to, but take the time to think back on all the things you learned and write them down. I know a lot of people will go on to Dev, the community blog site. I don't know if, I'm assuming y'all know what that is, but
Love
if not,
Dev, yeah.
yeah, here is a link for you. Create an account, write a blog post about it. I mean, people who are looking and are kind of in the same position you are, or were in the same position that you were, like, you know, 2 months ago before you started, love to read about your experiences and what you've learned and what you found is important. Like, it's super helpful for people coming in at a similar stage as you. So I want to encourage y'all to do that. Your words are useful and helpful for other people and for yourself. So whether that's something that's in a notebook or whether you write it out in a blog post, like, definitely do take the time to make some notes of the things that you've learned over the last 2 weeks. I think that's super useful. Great. And then I wanted to chat a little bit about office hours. We noticed a couple weeks where there just was very low attendance. And I don't know about this week if we had a little bit more, or if there was anything that was particularly helpful or not helpful, if there's things that we can do to improve. I'd love to hear from y'all about that.
I tried putting it on a Saturday to see if that changed up some stuff, and it's just me. Yeah, it was fine.
Mm-hmm. Which it is, you know, it is fine. Like, it is an optional piece of it. It's here for you. So, like, if it's not helpful for you, like, we don't need to necessarily do it. So yeah, just want to hear from y'all what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, with offset, I think they're really good. I've been really bad at attending the past weeks. It's been quite busy. And I even wanted to go to yesterday's, but like my cousin was in, so I couldn't really. Wasn't able to. But I think this week, yeah, especially during the week, I do want to make it happen and like schedule around it and actually go, because they are really helpful, and I want to make the most of the time, I guess. So yeah, so it's a guarantee for me to attend this week.
I like to weigh in kind of quickly. I think that it's always a bonus thing. I'm glad that it's not like, you know, enforced, but I think that to maybe get a forecast of how many people could join, like like when you guys have the doodle and then you have to narrow it down to one time and then you make the official office hours date. Maybe it could be like, okay, you guys, this is the date. Does it, you know, is there a, you know, I don't know, estimate of how many people could join, so it won't be like a surprise, like, oh, nobody's here. So maybe, I don't know, because I guess I would just throw my availability up, and I don't know what day will be the official day. But I think it's, like I said, I think it's a bonus. It's definitely there if I had the time. I did join a couple, but yeah, I really do like the incentive of the office hours thing.
I'll say, yeah, they've also been really awesome. For my schedule, it's been super hard to like attend them because I'll be like, oh yeah, I can make that one. That's like during a lunch break. And then my boss will be like, oh, we have a bug. Like you need to stay and like work on this. So sometimes I've like RSVP'd and then it's like wasn't able to attend. But that's not to say I don't think they're useful.
Lyle made a good point about we are running a little low on time. Maybe I really do. So I've put an action item for maybe doing a check-in after the doodle closes and just kind of look in and see like how many of y'all are gonna be able to make it. And so there's a little bit of a heads up if it's not gonna work. I do want to give Taryn a chance to talk though, because I know that let's do that. I'm all like, time, but it's fine. Taryn, do you have any thoughts on office hours?
Yeah, I've had conflicts by the time the day gets assigned, and so I really do like more early in the day is best for me generally, and I know that's tough with people's work weeks, so that's I kind of shift things over to the evening, like other meetings and things already as it is. So yeah, I'm sorry I haven't made it to all of them. We did make it to one and then no one was there, and then it's just an error. But so yeah, that's my only thought. It's just like if we can do it earlier in the day, that's normally better for me. But I know that it's not for most. So
Okay. I will add that because I can probably do earlier in the day for some of it. I'll also try to get the doodle out today so we have some time to do it. If y'all could take some time and do the doodle today too, that would be super helpful. That way we can get it figured and scheduled early.
cool.
Okay, so I'm just going to run through the last few here of things that can be improved because we are short on time. So it looks like Lyle wanted just some more chatting in the Slack channel, I think, and I would definitely concur with that. I'm always about talking more, and I think something that might be helpful, like even if especially like I know as a reviewer myself, I don't check my email very often. And that's the only way that I ever get notified that I'm ready for a review. Like, I think it would be very useful probably for people to call out like, hey, this is ready for review, and like actually like kind of bringing people into the conversation in Slack. So that might be a way to kind of start that conversation as well. And using that midweek check-in. I'd love to see some responses on that this week if we can, just to, again, get that conversation going because it is really a huge part of like professional developing on a team. Like I am in my Slack channel all of the time, all day long, doing all of the conversations. So it is important. I think it's a good habit to get into is just over communicating if you can. Great. I will pass it over to Lyle then for the last 2 minutes of the meeting.
On that note, does anyone have a hard stop right now at the top of the hour, or can we roll over for a few extra minutes? I'll try to keep it as quick as possible, but just to make sure we can kind of talk about what this is because it's different and we're going to need to spend some time with it. If not, I can figure out something else in order to communicate. But yeah, so has anyone got a bail right now? Okay.
Nope.
Great. Oh, Darren?
I said nope.
Okay,
No, I'm good.
great. Let me share my screen then real quick. Desktop 2. Can you all see the Mac background there? Now we've got pairs up. So I did just want to say that we do have pairs. So that is Vanessa and Tamara and Adam and Taryn. Y'all are the pairs for this week. It's going to be a little bit up to you as to what that actually means. So if we look, the only one that we have left is as the user, I want the app to look professional and welcoming. I think this is a little bit of a mislead because there's a bit more here than just, a simple one story. So we'll kind of walk through it real quick, and then I think we'll talk about kind of what that means and what we need to do. So just reading it through real quick. The last 2 weeks of the project are going to be different, and we're going to do some self-organizing. We're going to organizing, and we're going to talk about the design and the look and feel, and all of the kind of the cosmetics of the project. So there's not a whole lot of functionality that we're talking about here, but this stuff is something that I actually think is really, really important. And I mean, depending on where you are, there are places that have whole departments, teams dedicated to doing the UX, the UI, the design. There are consultants who do nothing but this, and they can come in and help up the look and feel. So we're going to kind of gloss over this, but just know that like you can rabbit hole in any one of these areas and go for a very long way deep into the design stuff. And you're going to have to make some decisions. And I would say, kind of be gentle with those decisions, because like there's a lot there, and it's easy to get kind of overwhelmed with all of the options and stuff that you have. So we are going to kind of walk through what Stacy's laid out here, but I will also say that none of this is really set in stone. This is all kind of more of a suggestion. So we should briefly talk about how we want to approach kind of creating stories for yourselves. And I would suggest we create cards or something to that effect for, potentially you and your pair, but also to communicate with the rest of the team in terms of what it is that you're going to do, so that we don't step on each other, and that we also kind of move consistently. So that's kind of why my feedback and the thing was, hey, we're going to need to chat more this week. And that's going to be true. Just because we kind of need to know what everybody else is doing in order for this to kind of work. So it'll be an interesting kind of challenge to see how y'all, kind of approach doing this, because I think it's left freeform on purpose. We want you to have fun, right? This should be the exciting part. You really get to personalize it. You really get to make it something that you like and you think is cool. But you've got other people on your team, so you got to make sure that we're all in agreement and alignment kind of as we move through. And again, we're all here to help. So, is Juan off, or is he just, oh, no, you're there. Just Zoom was telling me he fell off the side of the screen. Great. So we're all here. We can help you out with any of these questions. We've all touched and done things, this before. And if any of you in your current or past lives have had experience working with this or that UI, UX, whatever thing, it's all going to kind of come in and be relevant. So as we talk design, some of the kind of the most important stuff right off the bat is kind of align on what the thing is supposed to look and what it is supposed to feel like. And when we say feel, it feels like a fuzzy concept at first, but it is something you want to try and pin down as much as possible, because it helps align you on having discussions about everything else that you're going to kind of do, from colors and styles and fonts and do your things have shadows, and are they, goofy and fun, or are they serious and professional, right? You can sort of talk through how your users will go through and use the app. So I think we've got an example on here of just sort of the vocabulary of the design words and the look and feel that we can look for. So I think one of the things we're gonna ask of y'all this week is to do a little bit of homework and just kind of look through this story and kind of digest some of the things that are here, and then maybe provide suggestions as to what you want to kind of pull in and implement or not from the stuff that has been suggested here. Something else to kind of piggyback off of the words and the vocabulary for the look and feel is creating a mood board. So she linked, there's a guide article here on how to kind of set these things up. Or to kind of use some kind of prefab off the shelf templates for the look and feel of types of things. But these mood boards are not necessarily the full-on design of your application, but they help give you a shared aesthetic that you can kind of point to for the rest of the team to go and look at and say, like, hey, here's kind of how we're going to guide. Here's the colors we're going to use, here's the fonts we're going to use, here's, that kind of thing, and come into that. So again, this is optional. We don't need to use these types of things. They can be helpful. I feel like they can get in your way if you're not super careful, because now you're too busy worrying about a mood board and not busy worrying about your application. So, just keep that in mind as you go through and look at the balance, but that's one option we've got. We need to pick some stuff at the more basic level, at the CSS level, that we're going to kind of consistently use throughout the application. You don't want different icons, different fonts, different colors on each component. This just looks like a mess. So we'll need to kind of align on picking some common things and probably importing them. We can probably get away with most of the stuff in the single app.css file, but again, we want to be careful not to step on each other depending on what we do. Things to look at. Google Fonts has got a lot of different choices, probably enough to get where you need to go for the application. There's some stuff on colors and making sure that they're accessible colors. So certain things need to go together, have contrast rules to make sure that they work for things like high contrast modes and browsers with people with color blindness and that kind of stuff. And then some iconography and imagery, both with fonts and with iconography and imagery. You have to be a little careful in the stuff that you pick. You don't just want to go grabbing random stuff off of the internet. You can get hit with copyright stuff, which is never fun. And no one's probably going to come after TCL, but it is something that you want to be mindful in the professional world. People can get you over stupid crap like that. A good example is if you go look up Twitch streamers that have gotten their stuff taken down because they're playing copyrighted music in the background while they're running a stream, and that's technically illegal. And then they, and that's actually money for a lot of people. So you got to be careful about using free and open source stuff that is dedicated to being kind of free and usable. And there's plenty of stuff out there. So we've got some links to those kinds of things. And then a note about if you want to do CSS from scratch, integrate a CSS framework. You can probably even go as far as like using one of those compiled tools like SAS or Less or something if you're feeling really passionate about using that. Probably don't need to go that far, but there's all kinds of extra junk layered on top of CSS that you can pull in, libraries and things. So if you have opinions there, you can do that. If not, you can roll it from scratch and kind of put it in the app. Down at the bottom, Stacey's given some selections in terms of UI frameworks and libraries, components and that kind of thing that help you kind of layer on some stuff on top. I'm always a fan of things like that. I actually really like Material, although I know that you can pretty much pick out Material on any website that you see when you go and you look through and you're like, that looks like they used Material. It's almost always true. Same thing as some of the other ones, like Bootstrap is pretty much like that. But they give you the benefit of being able to grab, what a button looks like and what a drop down looks like and, a card looks like and all that stuff without you having to necessarily write up that stuff from scratch. There is a note about maybe you have a little bit less control over the look and feel of that, but I would say that in my opinion, this is just an opinion, it's easier to take somebody else who got you, 80% of the way there and then style the crap out of it to make it look like you want instead of doing up the thing yourself. Other people will disagree and say like, hey, it's never going to be truly yours unless you do the whole thing yourself. And that's that debate happens in software engineering since the dawn of time. Okay. So again, there's a lot here. In terms of the card itself, I'm just gonna, I think, assign this to everyone so that we can go in here and look, but be mindful that you do have your pairs. So we can kind of divvy up the work that is there that we need to go and do. Again, I know we don't want to be prescriptive here, and we want to make sure that you have the freedom to go and do the fun thing and pull in stuff and make it feel like yours and really kind of show it off. And if you have like a strong thought about like the way you really want to make it go. I mean, like some people, I'm not a huge style person, but some people really want to go and like have a strong passion about it. So that being said, I do want to kind of ask Mindy here a little bit. How did y'all handle this when you got through it on your pass through the project? Did you basically, is there anything that you really liked about the way you guys did it? Is there anything you want us to avoid at this point in time before we start figuring out how to divvy up what needs to happen next?
Well, actually, when we went through this, we didn't actually have, so we didn't have 2 weeks and it wasn't like this at all. We just ended up having 1 week. And I think really what we ended up doing is we just ended up mobbing on it. As a whole team, we got together and kind of talked through the different styles that we wanted, and then we did it. We actually, I don't even know. I mean, I think we technically had pairs, but we just all did it together all at the same time. So I don't know if it's totally applicable with my experience here, unfortunately.
Fine. I guess before we do anything, we should give it a couple of minutes of just, hey, does anyone have thoughts on what you want the thing to feel like? You know, we can get a couple of common words in here just as a quick discussion. And then maybe let's go through, okay, we're gonna jump into chat later, and we're gonna talk through, do we want like a vision board? Maybe we'll run a poll for it. I can drop something like that in there. And then we can might drop a poll in that says like, hey, do we want to use a component library, you know, that type of thing to drop on top. I don't want to be careful about using the full library thing, because you can actually bring in new stuff. I think we just want the styles and the shapes and the colors and stuff. But yeah, let's say, does anyone have thoughts on what you want it to feel like? And you can use just, if you have a word or two that kind of describes the feel, the look and feel, the aesthetic that you want to go for, let's just go ahead and throw them out and see what your teammates react to.
I'll go first. I'll just say the wireframe was good enough for me. So I don't know any other custom or advanced or anything. I think the wireframe was pretty good.
Just looking to see if I've got any. There's other directions out there too, but never mind. What do you mean by the wireframe? Like just in terms of the design tooling that it gives you, or the look and feel from the wireframe?
The look and feel from the wireframe, like the simplicity, you know, I guess it looks professional. It just looks simple. I'll just say simple.
So like simple, professional, clean is kind of what you're thinking. Is that right?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
I would definitely agree with that. I feel like if I have a shopping app or any kind of like to do, like I want it to be as stress-free as possible. So something clean, simple. Not a lot of garish images type stuff. Like, yeah, simple, clean, stress-free.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Making it easy to use from, like your phone, obviously. I guess we're not doing mobile, but if we were considering that, you know, just like the layout of everything and not being so close together, like, and consistency. So like consistency throughout the pages. You know, sometimes you can have one that has like a different background color and then one page that's different. Like just consistency is nice. But I do not want to use Bootstrap. That's my vote.
Clean, consistent, simple, user-friendly, and not Bootstrap. I think these are good things to align on. Okay. Any others? I saw that Stacy put in ironic as a potential word for what the app feels like, and I don't know what that means.
I think you can take it how you want it. That's funny. I didn't notice that, but I love that descriptor word. Now I want to make an ironic app. Like I don't even have any. It's just as a goal of mine now.
There are, if you go look, this might actually be a good exercise for you, just in any random thing. Every once in a while, someone will put up like a most annoying website or like most frustrating website or something with like intentionally bad design principles applied to it, which are kind of a lot of fun because you can go and get really like just freaking irritated by this website, but it's on purpose, right? And it shows you kind of what not to do. So they're kind of fun. And there's a few of them out there. It doesn't take much to search them up. Okay.
Should we get Adam's thoughts? I think is still.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything everyone said. Definitely keep it simple and clean. Yeah, not not overcomplicating it or with Bootstrap or anything. Just nice. I'm trying to think. And one of the things I think I kind of figure this kind of thing out and visualize it better when I actually start on it a bit. But so I feel I have more ideas when we start working on it, which I know doesn't help right now. But yeah.
My suggestion, and I'm open to people saying no, that's stupid, is to, so if we go look at the issues board here, I'm going to move this over into in progress. This maybe isn't the most exacting way to do it, but I think there's a lot of situations that would do this as well. Whereas as you decide a more concrete thing to go and do. So for example, if you decide that you want to pull up one of the mood boards and bring it in for other people to show and use, I would say you create a card that says, you know, basically create the mood board. Probably best to, if you can, use some as language. So even, you know, as a developer, as a designer, I have a common place to go and look at, you know, the look and feel or something. Similarly, if you think like, all right, you kind of want to tackle this and you want to go, as the user, I have selected, you know, fonts from Google Fonts, or I have added colors to app.css so that, you know, I at least have defined like, you know, here's the blue and the red and the green that we're going to use. I have, as the user, I have picked a CSS library to use for the application, so that we have, you know, a set of tools to go and use and implement. I'd say throw those up. I don't know that I necessarily think you need to stop doing things after you put that up, but more as a communication tool to say like, hey, this is what I'm doing and what I'm working at. That way your teammates can look and say, oh, I can see that Vanessa just put on, she's looking at the fonts, and, you know, she's kind of looking into implementing that and bringing them in. Small pull requests are probably your friend here as well. So if you want to implement something, you know, put up a pull request real quick, throw it up there, it'll get deployed to Firebase so that we can all look at it and see it and go like, hey, I put in, you know, Comic Sans, what do you guys think this look like on the website? You know what I mean? And then everybody else can kind of go and look. But this is part of where I was saying, we do want to make sure you're trying to communicate as best as possible. So putting cards on the board that you're going to go look at and do in terms of implementing the design thing. Again, I don't want to necessarily be prescriptive of it up front. So this is more for you as you think of something that you want to go and do to make it look and feel. Just tell us what you're doing and move it along on the board, and have PRs to show what you're trying to implement so that your teammates can look at it and pull them in. Talk to your peer pair, especially if you want to, you know, kind of buddy up on a specific task. Again, I think there's a little bit of freedom here. And if you want to go kind of off on your own a little bit, it's great. We do want you to be collaborating. It's kind of the whole point of this whole thing, right? So like, you know, talk to your pair and then talk to the rest of the team to make sure that we're all in alignment on the things that are going to come and get implemented into the application. That and to go with that, you know, be chatting in Slack and saying like, hey, at the room, I added a card in here for, you know, pulling in material or whatever you're going to do, right? And, or I picked these set of icons, right? Just wanted to let you know, here's what I've got. If you, you know, have thoughts on it, let me know, great. Otherwise, you know, we're going to keep it moving. I'd like us to avoid getting stuck, and I'd like us to avoid stepping on each other. So that's kind of all the things that I'm cautious about. But does that make sense in terms of things to go and do, in terms of putting a card on the board, saying I'm going to go do it, and moving it along? Thoughts?
I had a question. Like, if someone added a card, do we all get notified about it? Like, is that just a way to kind of be in the know of like being in sync of the updates, or maybe we're just gonna get notified for the PRs, maybe?
I'm gonna say, I have an opinion on this. I'm gonna say, communicate it in Slack. Like, just be proactive about it. Like, don't worry about whether they get notified in email or anything like that. Like, or even in Slack. Like, just over communicate. Like, don't rely on other tools to do that for you, I think. Sorry, Lyle, I just talked over you.
You said what I was gonna say, so I appreciate you. You can set up Git magic tooling to do that kind of junk. I just don't know if it's there, and just be noisy in Slack anyway. That'll take care of the problem, and I think that's the best way. So if you add a card, put it in Slack. If you decide that you're gonna pick up and make a decision, just put it in Slack. Let's be communicating there. I think that's the best way to handle that for the time being, and that way we don't have to worry about emails or Git magic or little carrier pigeons, that kind of stuff. Okay. Does anyone feel like they don't know what to do, and if I say break, then you'll be just kind of lost and like really don't know how to proceed from here? Because that's what I'm most worried about at the moment.
With me, I kind of want to like navigate the design. Like I'm definitely all for it, if especially Taryn, she definitely like wanted to get into the design. I'm just here like just kind of to witness and maybe just give suggestions for my end. I'm kind of like whoever wants to, worry about the layout and pixels, they could definitely chariot the app to victory. But
yeah, I understand. I myself avoid touching CSS at every given opportunity. I will go to great lengths to not. But I know people are super passionate about it. Is anybody in here like styles their thing, man? They just love making stuff pretty. They really want to like, have a super flashy show. Yeah, like does anyone feel super strongly that way?
I think it's more that I've been getting a lot of interviews for front end positions. I feel like it's more of my weakness. Like I understand it, but I think I too have shied away from it. And so I'm trying to take it as an opportunity to really fully form my understanding of how to do something kind of on the fly too, in positions where I'm put in to do that, even something simple. I don't want to be intimidated anymore, essentially.
And it's a wonderful attitude. I actually like diving in and tackling problem heads on is a wonderful habit that will do great things for you going down the line. So yes, I like that. Cool. Any other thoughts or questions related to that? Again, it's a little free form. You should just pull up the thing, go and look at it, chat with your people on Slack. No questions?
I have a comment, maybe.
Go for it, one.
So about the design, I think that I would suggest, if you don't know what design to approach yet, I would suggest to check one of the current design systems out there. Let's say, I don't know, Shopify's Polaris or IBM Carbon, or there are a lot of design systems out there that can help you to maybe to guide those design decisions, because they have a lot of UI components in place, so you can try to create like a screen based on those constraints. So maybe that's something that can help you with that. Maybe I can send you some links later. I know that there are some links there, but that might be helpful for you to start with, I would say. Another thing, sorry, I was gonna, someone was, okay. So yeah, I'm a bit distracted, sorry for the interruption, right? Matías. Oh, he's Matías el cumpleañero, by the way. One more thing is, don't hesitate to ask any questions. Maybe we can help as a mentors. If you have any questions about the process, about what tool to use, anything. So please just be noisy in the chat and we will be there to help. And last thing, maybe one way for you, this is my personal take on these kind of projects, on how I approach this. Not that you have to do it. Maybe it's something that usually I try to do with projects where there is no UI involved. You already have the functionality in there. You already have the screens, all the screens there. So maybe try to base your decisions on the first, decide the global look and feel on how the application would look, and then maybe try to split everything into screens. And maybe you can create the pull requests based on each screen. So in that case, it's easier to review the result. The output of each pull request could be one view, another pull request, another view, but there are more stuff that Line mentioned. For example, the fonts, you need to make those global decisions. So try to be as small or as atomic in the pull request as you can. So that will be helpful to finish this like in a easier way that everyone can understand. Because yeah, it's design. I'm saying that it's important, but it's also something fun that you can learn a lot from. Those are my general comments. But again, this is personal advice, so don't take it if you see that that doesn't make any sense. So just go with the best approach that you feel more comfortable with.
Is it
Alright.
is
Oh,
it
go ahead.
possible for us to chat about if we do want to go the vanilla CSS or choose a library? Because in my mind, honestly, I think the easiest thing like that I would want to do is like create a little like markdown file where it's like, here's example of like typography I'm thinking of, here's example of buttons, here's colors. So you have the whole thing, someone can look at it rather than doing like, here's something for typography. And then a couple days later, here's something for button, and it be a bit scattered. But if I know like, okay, we want to do material UI or we want to do whatever CSS, that just helps me to like be like, great, I'll choose buttons from material UI, or I'll choose this modal from whatever.
Mindy, you have a thought?
I do. Just as a tool that you could use. There is a wiki here in GitHub. Like if you wanted to use Markdown somewhere, like you could put it in a file, actually file in the code if you wanted to, or you could use a wiki, and that actually does use Markdown in there. So if that's something y'all want to use to kind of like collect all of your thoughts on it, that is an option.
Oh, very cool.
See if it respects my. See. Nope. Anyway,
I think you have to have a space between the hashtag and the thing, and there is a preview thing if you wanted to up in the top left. Ta-da!
Just like the world's smallest does the Markdown syntax test work, apparently. Cool. So that's the spot. You could do that if that's where you want to put that. Great suggestion. All
You
right.
don't even have to use a Pinterest board then. If you wanted to just add photos there, you could.
Do you really do design? I bet you people do their design stuff in Pinterest. Why wouldn't they?
I think there was a screenshot of that or something like that in there. But anyway.
Cool.
Should we echo the wiki with the Slack?
Yes. Then if your question is, should I do things on the wiki and also mention that I them in Slack? Yes.
Okay.
You could even like discuss it in Slack and then like, hey, as a team, we've kind of agreed on this. I mean, if you're wanting to do like mood board stuff, like sometimes it's easier just to go ahead and like add a mood board thing. But like if you're all discussing like, hey, we like this font, what do you think about it? And then, oh, we decided on this. Let's go ahead and put it in the wiki as like kind of our decision. So it's up to you really how you want to use it, but that's just an option.
Okay, we're almost to the bottom of the hour now. So I'd like to wrap it up. This is extra time and it is Sunday and I want to be respectful. So last bit, any burning questions, any burning thoughts? Cool. Have fun. This should be like I mean, even if you like, whatever on design things, which I kind of am, but I mean, like, it's still fun to go make it look cool and do some interesting stuff and to bring in, like, there's a little bit of freedom to kind of go try some stuff and oh, that didn't work or whatever. Like, there's room for that right now. We got, kind of 2 weeks before the end and you can kind of fuss with it a bit. And that's kind of the game. So go enjoy it. Y'all have done a great job right now getting it to functional. Getting it to do what you want it to do, and now you can really kind of make it feel like something that you want it to be in. So take pride in the work that you've done, because you've done a great job with it, and get to really put your stamp on it too while you're there. So I hope you get to enjoy it. I hope it's not too vague and you really get to really explore and do some things you like. So feel free to kind of go a little crazy. but just be mindful that you got teammates too that are, trying to work with you, and just communicate. That's all you gotta do. All right. Otherwise, thank you everyone. We're all around to help. Y'all are doing fantastic. This has been a lot of fun. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.
I agree. Bye, everyone.